Hello, my name is Sahara. Normally I do YouTubes where I give psychic predictions and astrological forecasts, and I also have a cat channel, which is really a blast to do. But this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and it does involve an angel. My channel is called FYI Sahara. If you want to find me, just in case your finger can't find the subscribe button, and that becomes a challenge for you. If you're challenged in hitting buttons, um, you can find me on FYI Sahara. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the little bell for notifications. But I'm going to be doing something totally different today. It it was inspired by some people on Facebook, and we got into a conversation about how we quit smoking. I quit smoking 20 years ago, and I want to tell you how. I don't want to tell you how I did it. I wanted to go get the supplies so I could demonstrate, but considering my past addictive personality, I don't want to have smoking products in my environment. It's just, that's my weakness. I don't like drugs. I don't like alcohol, but I like a good smoke. But that will kill me. I'm driving with my husband, and I had just been to visit a lady who only really had about a week more to live, lung cancer. And by then, all of her teeth had fallen out. Do you know that smoking makes your teeth fall out? But that's like the easy part. So my husband and I are driving away from the person's house, and I said, "Whoa, that was really intense. I need a cigarette." And he didn't smoke. He quit a long time ago. And I lit up. I'm driving. It seemed to me like driving, and the cigarette lighter and lighting up was the way to start the car. You know, first you start the car, get in gear, and light up. Okay. So, but the generation I grew up around was smoking was a different deal then. So just driving down a little country road, something hit my hand with great force. And my husband said, "Whoa, what was that?" I said, "God, something hit my hand." And we had to pull over, and I had to get down in the back of the car to find the cigarette, of course, so we didn't catch on fire. And I was very shaken, and so was he. And he said, "Honey, that was your angels. They slapped it out of your hand." I went, I think you're right. So it reminds me of one of the many quit smoking groups I went to. There was a family of formerly 6 siblings, and they're at the funeral of one of the siblings. They all smoked. The parents smoked. And I was in South Carolina then, and when you live in certain areas of the South, smoking is more part of your culture. It's a cash crop, um, and so it's just very prevalent. Um, Even if you, I don't want to talk about the smoking Tobacco Road. So here these people they go, "Wow, that was really intense. I need a cigarette." So they stepped out. The remaining 5 siblings stepped out on the porch to light up. That's when one of them said, "This is crazy," and showed up at this quit smoking group. I hope she made it. I didn't. I continued to struggle. There were many reasons I continued to smoke. My husband had medical and seizure disorders, which will kind of work your nerves, so they'd say in the South. So when I got home, I was still shaking. And I knew this guy he was just a triple A personality. He had made a ton of money as a lobbyist in Washington, lobbying for tobacco um, companies in Congress, okay? So he was always passing money to the congressmen and sitting around entertaining and take them on trips and out to dinner, and they'd smoke up a storm. So um, he got kind of sick, and uh, but he was so hyper. He's a really fun guy, but he's one of those characters, you know, they're so hyper. It's you know, it makes an addictive personality for some people. I called him up. His name was Hut for Hudson. I said, "Hey Hut, I gotta quit smoking now." And I said, I think I've had the fickle finger of fate visit me. I told him about the force slapping something out of my hand, the cigarette. And I said, "How in the world did you quit? You're so intense." Um, and he said, he told me to get a pipe. Well, 20 years ago, you could go down to the drugstore and buy a pipe. And he told me to get a certain kind with Dr. Grabo filters, and it goes in the stem of the pipe, and then you get pipe tobacco. And you know what? It's like so less expensive than cigarettes. At least it was in those days. It didn't cost anything compared to cigarettes. And but the funny thing was, I liked it. I quit smoking immediately, but I loved my pipe. So now I have another addiction. It's just not quite as bad, but it's not good. And it did take me time to wean off of that. Could be, as I mentioned, life was intense with a husband who had seizures, and I adored him. So um, now getting the products is a different story nowadays. I called a local tobacco store, and they told me, you know, some of those things were not available, but they had things that could compensate for, especially it was the filter inside the stem of the pipe that made it really nice. And I actually ended up having about 6 pipes, and I fill them all up for my whole day, and that was that. It carried around with me. And as a woman smoking a big old pipe, it was strange, but it starts to become your friend. I knew what kind of pipes I liked, type of tobacco, and you you could get them in big cancers that last you for a month, didn't cost too much, not like cigarettes. And I love the Dr. Grabo filters. Now, they're harder to find, but in the local smoke shop, I had to call to several smoke shops. Things are not like they were. And I considered going down and buying all that I needed. It would have been about $30. Big deal. And I wanted to make a demonstration of how you get the filters, you put it in the pipe, and you put the tobacco in the pipe, and really you can figure that out, especially if you want to live, because I am now 65. I'm sorry for my voice. I had a voice accident. I really sound like I'm 100, but it's slowly healing. And I make YouTubes, and people won't always to subscribe to my channel because I sound so squeaky. But I don't think I'd even have a voice box left if I still kept smoking. So if you call around, even if you have to go to a nearby city, do it. A little harder to get online, and get something like the Dr. Grabo filters and get a pipe, and you're off and running. You'll find the type of tobacco you like, and it will be your new friend. It might take a little time. You might need, I needed a little help with some of the lozenges that help you quit smoking. They're like, kind of look like mints in lozenges. You can, I think you can still buy those in the drugstore. I mean, it's really getting bizarre. And I don't know how to tell you how many of my friends are no longer with us. Smoking will kill you. When I first started smoking, I worked for Eastern Airlines, and I was a flight attendant, and I would walk down the aisle with an attractive wicker basket and pass out free samples. You know, it was a different age then, and different rules. And finally, the tobacco companies could no longer buy off the congressmen, which still happens, as you know. How many people died because Congress people were making money? That's the way it goes. I mean, that's why, as well, it's good to stay active in politics. Hand waving doesn't work when a good friend has dropped dead from smoking, and you can. So, but you know all that. If you're smoking, you probably went out, had some drinks with some friends, and they offered you a cigarette or something, and really, if you look at old movies from the 50s, when they would sit down to talk, many times an individual that was opening up a really pretty silver cigarette holder, and you would always offer it to somebody who'd go, "Oh, cigarette?" You know, that's the way it was, and it was considered polite. I want to tell you as well, I got in a bad auto accident in 1972, and when I came to, the first thing I asked the nurse was, "Where are my cigarettes?" And she brought them to me. She said, "So here they are," and she brought over an ashtray. And I couldn't use my hands very well. I'd been in quite an accident. I said, "Oh, I can't quite light it with my hands." And she said, "Oh, here you go, honey, I'll light it for you." And she lit it and handed it to me. And I could smoke even though my whole face was bandaged up. Do I need to, but nowadays things are different, but still people get hooked on it. I guess it takes a party, a couple drinks, and there you go. And it's supposed, all you need to know. And I don't know if you would have an angel come and literally knock something out of your hand. Knocked my hand like you could hear a slap. And my husband and I were shaken up. And I got talking to somebody online on a completely different site, an astrology site. And she said, "Well, I just quit. I felt an angel, and I heard an angel, and there was a light around me." Really. Sometimes our angels are there, but are we paying attention? So my little video has gone on to 10 minutes, so I cut it short. You can subscribe if you like astrological, tarot, and future predictions for the world. The predictions are for the world, and they're offered by different psychics and astrologers. And online, there are some amazing people, and they can share their gifts with you, and they do, and they're great. So if you want to subscribe for that, and as well, I can leave a link to my cat channel, because I like making cat videos almost as much. They make me laugh. By the way, I should tell you, my mother died at 56, smoking and drinking. And yet, I was maybe 32 and she died. I said, oh, Mom's dead. I'm really stressed. I need a cigarette. You know, that's, you got a problem when you're thinking like that. Or like the siblings out on the porch going, that was really intense. I need a cigarette. How about I'm leaving a dying friend. And I said, oh, that was really intense. I need a cigarette. Well, I think some of her angels followed me home. And I'll leave that with you.